got my homeboy Pete Frank with me, and we letting everybody know who got a dream. Yo, stay focused. Keep moving forward. It's on the way. Keep that dream alive. If you got a dream, don't look to the left, nor the right, look forward.
Your faith is in Jesus. Completion is here before you even begin. Dreaming big of my life in the future. Already knowing that it's not far. Having the passion to work towards Jesus. I'm gonna keep my faith and swagger going hard. Don't turn right. Just push straight. You don't have to fear no.
Hello, 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 everyone, and happy Thursday. You are here tuning into the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, and I am your host, Yolanda, and I am very excited about our guest today, or should I say this evening. This lady is going to be sharing her experience with domestic violence abuse. And when I tell you she has a powerful story, you will be amazed. The guest for tonight is none other than Miss Renata Flot-Patterson. See, there I go with these braces. Yet again, I told you I'd be having some issues with these braces. But before I go ahead and bring her on the screen and have this conversation and this real talk with her, I'm going to be right back. So I'm going to ask you to please share this broadcast, tag someone, tell someone, and then we'll get a little bit more into what domestic violence abuse is, share a little bit of the statistics, and also have our special guest for this evening. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, where you will hear stories from people who have experienced hell on earth and have walked past hell to share their stories. You will also hear what they are doing now and how their businesses, nonprofits, and ministries were birthed from their past trauma. So let's empower the world, one story at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Yolanda Jerry.
And we are back. We are back. As I mentioned, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so before we get into our special guest, I would like to just share a few statistics with you so you can know how serious this violent crime is. And so here it is. 1 in 3 women and also 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence abuse. 15.5 million children are exposed to domestic violence abuse every year in the United States. And since we are here in Mississippi, here's the number for Mississippi. 40% of women and 32% of men in Mississippi will experience domestic violence in their lifetimes. And these are, pretty high numbers, but just imagine the number that's not being told of the individuals who are experiencing domestic violence abuse. So we are going to get into our special guest tonight, and it is none other than Miss Renata Flot-Patterson. She is the co-founder of Gulf Coast Destination Management Company, which is the Gulf Coast's only DMC. She is also the founder of LeFleau Entertainment Groups and Productions Incorporated, an entertainment and event company based in Salt Lake City, Utah, where she lived for 24 years before moving to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. She's also the previous managing partner of the 13th Street Jazz Bistro that was located in downtown Gulfport from 2011 to 2018. Renata found her true love and passion, which is events and entertainment, since venturing into the world of events and entertainment around 2000. Her experience and natural abilities, including planning, developing, designing, and organizing events from the initial site visit through events end. She enjoys developing relationships and helping attendees connect to enjoy events which she's planned and always aim to exceed hers, her clients, and the attendees' expectations. Renata loves more than anything creating an experience that attendees remember for years to come. She also has a love and passion for that truly lies in creating cultural shows, productions, and events. Renata's work and creations are usually a representation of her true and authentic New Orleans Creole and African American culture. Hey, y'all know I'm from New Orleans too. She was actually born in California. A lot of people don't know this though. But she spent most of her life and was pretty much raised in New Orleans. So she considers herself a New Orleans native along with the rest of her family. The New Orleans Creole culture runs rich in her family and in her blood. She is extremely proud of her unique heritage and all of its traditions. So I am excited to bring on Miss Renata to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. Hello, 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 beautiful.
Hello, Yolanda. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for saying yes to being a guest on a Dr. Yolanda Jerry show. I'm truly
Absolutely.
excited about having you here. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, because you could have been with your husband right now. So I just want to go ahead and say happy birthday. I mean, not happy birthday, happy anniversary to you and your husband. How long have you all been married?
4 years, but it feels like 100. It's we were saying today it's like, oh my God, it feels like a lifetime. Yeah, 4 years.
Wow, wow. Well, I had the opportunity to see a lot of your beautiful pictures, and I mean,
Thank
you
you.
both make a beautiful, beautiful couple. So, again, happy anniversary to you and your husband.
Thank you.
Well, Renata, before we get into our topic, because we know the topic and story tonight is a demon in disguise, and we know you are not the demon, right? So,
I
before,
hope people know
before
that.
well, I know you're not the demon, right? So, but before we get into that, as a guest on my show, I always try to take it back to where individuals can tell us a little bit about, where they grew up. I know I mentioned some of this stuff already from your bio, but just a little bit about your childhood, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about that and how it was growing up for you.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said, I was born in California, in Los Angeles, California. A lot of people do not know that about me. They just know I'm from New Orleans because that's what I tell them. My mother gets mad with me all the time. She's like, "You're not from New Orleans." Yes, I am. So yeah, born in California. I was actually raised in California till I was about 10, and then or 11, and then we moved back to New Orleans, which was the original home for my parents. They grew up there. That's where they met, and but from there on into my adulthood, I lived in New Orleans, and everything about New Orleans and my family traditions, I just love, love, love. And I cherish very much. I moved to Salt Lake City in 1994, and I lived there for 24 years, like you said. And I really developed a lot of my event planning and entertainment background there. While I was living there. It just, it's crazy, but it's a lot of people don't like. There's people in, Salt Lake City that do this type of stuff. Yeah, there is, and actually, they really love like the authentic cultural things that we were bringing to, Salt Lake City. So it was very successful there. And so I still do it there because it is very successful. My childhood is, like I said, I grew up in California, but I had, a very rich New Orleans kind of Creole family background. So we were very, very connected with all of our family, like a huge family and a loving family. We always did everything together. So my cousins are more like my sisters and my brothers.
Right.
You know how it is.
I
You
know
grew up
how
in
it
New
is.
Orleans. Right.
Everybody calls each other cousin and brother and sister in Louisiana.
Right, so and yeah, so you really understand the dynamics of that. I, my parents were hard workers. They provided well for us as children. We had a good childhood. I mean, I can't, I can't think of any better of a childhood that I could have asked for. Growing up, just like I said, with a lot of family and a lot of love around us. It was very rich, and I felt very comfortable in my surroundings and in my environment. And then yeah, so that's my growing up and my childhood, and I grew into my adulthood and started raising my own children with a lot of the same traditions and cultures, and love, again, just bringing all of the family together all of the time for them, so they understand those dynamics as well, because it's just what we do. And yeah.
Well, I mean, you had a great childhood, and I always tell people, I say, who wouldn't have a great childhood if they were surrounded around Cajun and Creoles? You know what I mean? I mean,
Right,
but
right.
good food and good family fun and family gatherings and those types of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, always family gatherings, always. And
Always
it's just, I think what also led me into like the event planning side of my life, because my mother and her sisters, they were always planning events. They actually, like my uncle and my aunt, they had like their own event planning company in New Orleans, and a restaurant. They had restaurants and bars in the airport. I mean, so I just grew up in that, and there were always entertainment, big weddings with live bands, and it's who I am. So
right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I mean, look, I'm already connected. I already feel like for your family, your family.
yeah, right, right.
Well, Renata, I wanna go ahead and just shift over and let's start talking about, your experience with domestic violence abuse and your story. Because I mean, look at this topic. It says a demon in disguise. So I know everybody wants to know, what is Renata talking
Right.
about?
What is the whole talk?
So I want to
Oh, well,
you
yeah.
go ahead and start that off, lady.
Well, I've always grown up in a very spiritual family too. So we went to Catholic school. We were taught about, God and spirits and good and evil and the whole nine yards. And as I grew up into my adulthood, I did my own experimenting with like spirituality and just trying to get really grounded in the Word, and just trying to really understand the dynamics of making good choices, making bad choices, and just, so demon in disguise, like when you asked me for a title, I just, that came to me right away because I feel like the gentleman that, murdered my daughter and my grandson, he came to us in a very, very deceiving kind of way. He was a charmer. He
Mhm.
was, what we thought was her knight in shining armor. He was playful, he was fun, he was exciting for us and for her, joker, just doing so many things to just make us all like him. And, when you come from a big family, like we do, and you're going through life and you have a cousin or a sister or a aunt or whoever, that, or whatever it may be, that brings someone into the family, and they say, this is my boyfriend, or this is my friend,
Yeah.
or then it turns to, this is my fiance, and we're gonna, and now we're thinking about getting married. Well, coming from the kind of families that we come from, we accept people.
Yeah, we
know,
embrace
we embrace them.
them.
We don't, because we love so hard and we love our children. We want them to be happy, and we want them to feel, the love for
Right.
their mate,
Right.
the same way that we display it to them. So I feel like it's a weakness that we have. Honestly, now looking back, it's like, I feel like it's a weakness, and we need to be very, very careful,
Mhm.
on who we allow in our lives and who we
Right.
trust. Because of my experience, I never felt that way before until now. Because we welcome everybody.
Mhm.
So saying that, we welcomed him. We did, and he was every party, every Christmas, every gathering, whatever, birthday parties. He was welcome. That was my daughter's boyfriend.
Mhm.
Until one day we saw the ugly side of him, and we started hearing things and from other family members who was experiencing the abuse along
Mhm.
with her,
Wow.
or basically witnessing it. And there was an incident that took place at our house that my husband nipped in the bud right away and said he's
Mhm.
never welcome here again. Because
Wow.
my husband is not like us.
Right. He's not going to tolerate that,
Right.
right?
He's not going to tolerate it. You know, and I have been in situations in my family where there has been, you know, cases of abuse where it happened and then it's okay.
Right.
And they let him come back around. And, you know, so I think that was it for me. You know, when I started seeing what I thought was a change in him, which was during her pregnancy, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I tried to, you know, give him a chance. Well, my husband just was like, absolutely not. He's not welcome here. I don't want to be around him. I saw the bad side of him. When people show you who you are, you better believe them. And, you know, that's just, you know, my husband was adamant about it. Whereas I, you know, was seeing my daughter wanting to make her relationship work, as, you know, women do. They want the family to stay together. She had found out she was pregnant. She wanted a family. That's all she wanted, you know.
Right.
She wanted it to work, and she knew that there were some issues that she was, you know, trying to help him with, you know, emotional issues that he had from his past, scars, I should say. And she was trying to work through that with him. And it, you know, at the end of the day, he didn't want the help. He just, because he didn't even understand how to embrace it. So she, you know, she just went through a really rough time with him because he could not control his anger. And even with, you know, her allowing him back into her life after the first incident, and us watching, you know, closely now, obviously, you know, a little mistrusting, but still watching, you know, closely and trying to allow him or give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, he would come around and he show one side that he absolutely was not behind closed doors.
Well, of course,
So
that's what usually abusers do. They're going to show you the good side. They're not going to show you the bad side, especially once you not found them out.
Right. So, I mean, and that was really, like, I feel like, you know, when I say it, the demon in disguise, that's what I just, you know, I labeled or titled this as that, because I just feel like, you know, he was one thing in front of us, and then he was something else when we weren't around. And he was that demon spirit that attaches itself to, you know, an abuser, because of their past scars or what have you. You know, I'm not a mental health expert,
right?
Nor will I ever claim to be, but I've read enough at this point, and I've researched enough at this point to realize that a lot of people who do abuse were abused, you know, and so it's a vicious cycle that just continues to repeat itself over and over again. And I feel like this is what is, you know, the case with him. And so, again, that demon spirit, you know, that attaches itself to people who, you know, have been in abusive situations, and it's manipulative, just like the devil, you know, it's manipulative. It breaks you down, breaks your mental, you know, capacity down, you know, tries to make you believe that, you know, you're nothing. It works on your self-esteem, you know, making you just feel like, you know, bring you to the lowest point that they can bring you to so that they can control you, you know. And if anybody has been in an abusive situation, they understand that. Again, like I said, I'm not, you know, an expert, so I'm just going by what I'm learning now, you know.
Absolutely.
How it works, you know. There's phases of this abuse, you know. They come in, they charm you, they get you, you know, under their wings, so to speak.
Right.
And, you know, get you to trust them, get you to love them,
right?
Because they're charming, you know. And so who wouldn't, if you're a loving person and you've learned all your life to just trust people, you know, because that's what you've been taught from your family, then when someone comes into your life and they're charming you, then you trust them. And then eventually, you know, you move to phase 2 where they start showing you the bad side, where they start, you know, demeaning you by the words that they speak to you, cussing you out, you know. It just goes on, and the cycle just gets worse and worse as the time goes on, you know. I've learned now, you know, that there were so many things that happened in her relationship that if we would have known about, we would have, it would have went so differently, you know.
Right.
But that's the other thing.
Yeah, I know this, and I just want to say thank you, because this is for the people that's watching right now. If you're just tuning in, we are talking to Miss Renata Flot-Patterson about the loss of her daughter to domestic violence abuse, which, you know, as you can see, the title says "A Demon in Disguise." He painted a very good picture of who he was, you know, in the public eye. So please share this broadcast. Hopefully, her story will help another person you may know, another parent. But we're going to get a little bit more deeper into how you found out, or when did it happen, as soon as we come back from this commercial break, Renata.
Okay.
Letitia Cotton Enterprises presents the 5th annual Gulf Coast Gospel Music Award, hosted by Krista Overby, Jamel Strong, Bishop Samuel McGill III, and red carpet special guest appearances by comedian C. Richard Dorsey, with performances by some of the nation's up-and-coming artists. Join us as we honor Pastor Ken Braxton, Yvonne Matthews, Cornelius Edwards, Evelyn Turntide A.G., Ray McGee, and the Anointed Pace Sisters. Sunday, October 24th, 4 p.m. Central on Fox, the CW, and streaming on our Facebook and YouTube social platforms.
And that is the Gulf Coast Gospel Music Awards, which is happening this coming Sunday. So make sure you tune in at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time to see all of the amazing honorees, the gospel artists, and all of the award recipients. So again, that was Gulf Coast Gospel Music Awards. You can go and find out more info about them at www.gcgma.com. All right. So Renata, you know, I commend you. You show a lot of strength, woman. And I know it's not easy even having to tell the story about the loss of your daughter. And I'm going to also say your grandbaby, because you lost a grandbaby too, right? At the same time.
It would have been one tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, how did you find out? How did you find out that it got to that point to where this person who was this demon in disguise took your daughter's life, your grandbaby's life, and didn't you say that he also took his life too as well when we had talked before?
Yes.
Mm.
So like I said, the entire time there was an incident that happened prior to her getting pregnant, and that was like, we were done, so to speak,
Right.
and we distanced ourselves from him. She distanced herself from him. And then she found out she was pregnant. When she found out she was pregnant, she literally went her entire pregnancy without him. Like, she didn't want him around. She was just trying to keep him at bay and trying to figure out where she was going in her life, with now his baby, which honestly, I'm going to be real transparent here. We were not happy about the baby. We weren't, it was like, this is going to attach you to this man for the rest of your life. And it's going to be a problem for you. But again, like I said, we grew up in a spiritual family. She didn't believe in having an abortion, and she was, in her mind, and she even verbalized, it's like, God doesn't make any mistakes, Mom. I have this baby for a reason. God, maybe this is something that God has given me so that I can focus more on,
The baby,
my life and my children and what have you. So we had those conversations. But anyway, she was pregnant. She, went through a good pregnancy. She was healthy. It was the healthiest she had ever been in her life. Like, she was really taking good care of herself. And she was glowing the entire time. I tell people most women glow at the end of their pregnancy. She glowed the entire time of her pregnancy. So it was like, I was really proud of her during her pregnancy, even though I wasn't excited about who the baby was for.
right?
We got excited about that baby.
Yeah,
that's what we do too.
Who would be excited about a baby coming in a family?
Coming from a big family where you love everybody's child,
Right.
And everybody was excited about this baby coming, and in our immediate family, even her 2 older sons. And so now, we're going through the pregnancy, we're preparing for this new baby, and the whole time during her pregnancy, he was very loving, just like I said, she wasn't with him, but he was, offering to buy things for the baby. He was, basically giving her money to support, what she needed for the baby. and just, trying to, what I saw is trying to prove that he was going to do better. And
Okay.
that was never going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So me being, again, the trusting person that I am, and just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, I got to a point where I would actually be in his presence, because there was a long time, I mean, probably 5 or 6 months of her pregnancy, I didn't want to be around him.
Right.
And I would tell her, if he's going to be at your house, I don't want to be there, and
Mm-hmm.
so don't even call me, if he's there. So anyways, it got to a point where I really started feeling like he was trying, and so once again, I went to her house and I met him there, and we had a talk. And, I just told him, I said, if you ever, do anything like that again to my daughter, it's over. It's going to be a problem for you, and I'm, Kelly's biological father, is retired from the New Orleans Police Department. And so, I mean, there were actions that we could have taken to really just get him out of her life completely.
Right.
But
Right.
again, just, okay, he's human. People make mistakes, maybe he just had too much to drink that night. Who knows, but I, again, tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. We got a baby on the way. Let's make this right. Let's do this right. My daughter obviously loves you. She's trying to, to build this family with you. And, he had a grandson that she loved and adored. And, she would help him with the grandson. This is prior to the pregnancy.
Wow.
But, so it's just, she had the baby, and, that night I was there with them when they had the baby. He was there. Everybody, him and I were all excited. The ones who weren't there were all excited. You do all the posts on Facebook. Everybody's commenting, everybody's just happy for her,
Right.
And the baby, I guess, about 3 months into the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 3 months after the baby was born, we had a very tragic loss in our family. My sister lost her daughter, and she went to sleep and she never woke up. She was 35 years old. Not only was she my sister's child, she was literally like Kelly's sister. They grew up together, and so you couple that with postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
Now the loss of your favorite cousin, who's like your sister, and she's going through it. She's really struggling, mentally, emotionally, and I just feel like he took full advantage of that.
Wow.
And that's where that demon slipped right on back in. And she accepted him back into her life because she wanted to be happy. She just wanted to be happy, and she just wanted her child to have a father. She wanted to have a family. She allowed him back in. And within the next couple of months, now I know. I didn't know then. The abuse started again. And there were many things that had happened that she did not share with me. And I know it was out of shame because I had accepted him back into our lives. She hid a lot. She hid a lot of what was going on because she wanted us to accept him. And she didn't want to go back down that road of he can't come around anymore, or he still couldn't come to my house. My husband still wasn't having it, but we would go to things in her house.
Yeah, I get it.
And I hate to, I won't say I hate to say it, but I to show how adamant my husband was until the murders, he still had never stepped a foot back into our home. But anyways, so again, a demon in disguise. Now he's over there. He's putting hands on her. Then it starts escalating, from what I understand now, to now he's yelling at her son, her 10-year-old, cussing him out. Yeah. So I would say that started happening probably about when the baby was about 4 months, and then when he was about 6 months, she had an incident at her house, which was literally about 10 or 12 days before he killed him, where he came over. She was home. She was cooking dinner. They never lived together. She always lived in her own place.
Mm-hmm.
But she was home and she was cooking dinner, and he came over to cut the grass. And because that's the kind of things he would do. He would do nice things, like.
Yeah.
But then he would just blow up on her, So I don't know what happened that night, but they got into an argument, and the way I understand it is he was actually attacking the son, the 10-year-old. The 14-year-old was not there. He was at his cousin's house. So she jumped in to defend her son. And she was like, basically, don't talk to my son like that. Then he literally lost it on her, beat her up, and took the baby. And during her pregnancy, she had gotten full custody of the baby because she just knew in her heart that she had to protect her child.
Right.
And there was something that she was very, adamant about making sure she had that custody. And mainly all fairness for him as well as for her, so that they could both have rights to the child, Anyways, so she had custody of the baby, and when he took the baby that night, she called the police. And when she called the police, she had him on speakerphone, and the police were at her house, and he literally told the police that night that he was going to kill himself and the baby if they came looking for him.
What? Wow.
Yeah. So
that was the sign right there that he was.
that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And she, I had one over there because she called me and told me what was happening. So she literally lived only like 4 minutes away from our house. So I jumped in my car and ran over there, and, the police was there, and he's on the phone. He's yelling and screaming, to the police, if you come over here with your guns, call the police, whatever. Basically you're going to find us dead. So eventually the police officer talked him into giving the baby to his sister. So they called his sister, and she met him over there and at his house. By this time now he's at his house. And I guess Harrison County or Gulfport police, I don't know who the, attending officers were or agency was, but they went there. The Biloxi officer told her to go there to get the baby. They were going to get the baby from him, which they did. He surrendered. He gave the baby to them. They gave the baby back to her, and they told her that they were taking him to the hospital for evaluation, psychiatric evaluation. And within 6 hours, he was calling her. He had been released from the hospital. He was never arrested that night. He was never arrested ever, from what I understand now, looking back at all of the police reports that we didn't even know about, because these were things that were happening at her house that nobody knew but her. But he was never arrested for anything.
Renata, that's crazy to me, because even when the police heard him say that, come over here, I'm going to
you will find us dead. I don't know if you remember, there was a situation where they actually killed a man and a baby on I-10 it was a domestic violence thing from Baton Rouge. Anyways, he literally said, you will have another I-10 situation.
Oh my God.
If you come over here.
Yeah, he was super gone.
And now it wasn't just one call, it was 2 phone calls. And so twice he made the statement, you will find us dead if you come here with the police, And so again, like I said, they took him to the hospital that night. They told her, we're taking him to the hospital. He's going for a psychiatric evaluation. He'll be there for 72 hours. You need to go tomorrow and file the charges, blah, 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 blah. She did that. But like I said, within 6 hours, he was calling her. And she called me that next morning. She's like, Mom, can you believe they never even arrested him and he's out of the hospital? I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
That is
crazy. Kelly, did you go and file the charges? And she said, yeah. She says, I'm here right now with my attorney. And then they went right over there and did the protective order. And within 10 days.
Protective order is not going to stop someone whose mind is that far gone. I can't, for the life of me, I cannot understand. I said, this is why myself and many other individuals are fighting so hard and advocating, for victims, because of the system being broken.
It's so broken.
Every state, I'm sure, there's different levels, but there's no way that the police should have just let him walk like that. Not when he gave an actual threat. That was a threat.
Yolanda, it goes farther than that, because he had a prior history of domestic abuse. And he had been convicted and charged charged and convicted, and actually did 6 months jail time because
Wow.
he had literally left his ex-wife for dead, from what I understand.
My God.
And so he had a history. So nobody's checking the history, or the priors of these abusers. It's insane, like, and I've been speaking, since this has happened, I've been speaking with all of these different agencies, and what I'm hearing is that we have laws in place, they're just not being enforced.
Mm-hmm.
And so if nobody's enforcing
Yeah.
these laws, then this is what's happening. People are dying
Right.
daily.
And there are laws in place. Some aren't being enforced, but it don't only go so far. It will only go so far. There's certain things that, I mean, they just don't see it as such a violent crime. You can go shoot somebody on the street, they'd be ready to lock you up. But when you're talking about the domestic violence abuse, it has to get to the point to where somebody actually dies for you to do anything. It's too late at that point.
Right. And so it's just, it definitely is a broken system, I but I feel like my message is to make people understand, mothers, women, fathers, cousins, nieces, nephews, whoever you are.
Right. And wait, Renata, before you move into that part, I want to ask you the question: how did you find out that your daughter was no longer here and your grandson was no longer here? How did you find that part out?
He told me. My grandson, it was 3:45 in the morning on June 6th, and my phone was ringing. I was sleeping, and my phone was buzzing. I could hear it. It was on silent, but I could hear it vibrating. And so it woke me up, and I looked over to my phone, and it was my grandson's contact on it. And I was like, oh my God, something's wrong.
Your grandson, you have a grandson that was still there that didn't get hurt.
So my daughter had 2 older children in the home the night of the murders. Yeah,
okay.
She had a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. And so the 14-year-old, he heard the glass break. He broke into her home in the middle of the night. She had like a sliding glass door on the back, on her room. It was, her bedroom. And then the sliding glass door entered to like a little patio area outside in the backyard. So he literally went in through the yard and broke the glass, I guess, with the gun. The glass shattered, and my grandson heard the glass shatter. He was sitting on the couch, he's a teenager. 3:00 in the morning, he's up watching movies, on the couch in the living room on a Saturday night. And so he heard the glass break, and he literally grabbed his phone and jumped up and ran straight out the front door because he was in clear sight of the front door. So he ran out the front door and called me. And that's when I missed the call. And then when I didn't answer, he called 911. So when I realized who the call came from, I jumped up and I told my husband, I said, something's wrong. Get up. We got to go. I knew immediately. I knew something was wrong. And I tried to call him back. He wasn't answering. I'm freaking out. I'm like getting dressed because I know what happened 10 days before.
Right.
He killed himself and that baby. So I know it has gotten bad now. That's in my mind. And this, it's just getting worse. So I got up and started getting dressed, and I called 911. No, I didn't call 911. I called my daughter's phone.
Mm-hmm.
I called my daughter's phone. He answered it, and he said, "I just killed your effing daughter." He said, "You tried to play me. Now I'm playing y'all." And I just was like, "Byron, where are my grandbabies? Where are my babies?" And he said, "They about to be dead, and so am I." And he hung up the phone, and immediately I called 911. And when I called, they said, "We've already gotten a call from your grandson. We have units on the way." And I said, "Can I go there?" And they said, "You can go, but do not go to the house. We have units on the way." She just kept telling me, "We have units on the way." And she told me, "Go, we can go to the corner." So we jumped up. We got, like by this time we're dressed. I mean, it just all happened. So like, I don't know. I wasn't even thinking. I was just moving,
Right.
My husband, he didn't even ask any questions. He just got up and started getting dressed. And we went out the door. I'm literally within 10 minutes, we were at her house. Between getting the call, getting dressed, and getting to her house, it was literally like only 10 minutes. And when we got to the corner of her house, I saw 2 ambulances turning in front of us and on the road to our house. And I told my husband, it's bad. They're going to Kelly's house. And he said, baby, you don't know that. And I said, yeah, they're going to Kelly's house. It's bad. And we followed them all the way to that corner. And when we got to the corner, it was like a movie scene, really. It was. There was police everywhere. They had the whole block blocked off, lights everywhere. SWAT, dogs. I mean, it was crazy. And I was like, oh my God. And I could see his truck in the driveway parked behind her car. So I knew he was there. So I knew when he said he killed my daughter, he killed my daughter. I knew it wasn't a lie. Did I want to accept it? No, but I knew in my heart it was over.
My God.
And
I
so
can't imagine. I mean, the demon told you himself. And then was a coward and decided to take his own life too, because he didn't want to have to face the consequences.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we waited. Like I said, we got to the house. Got to the corner of her house, and then the police had the 2 older boys. They had picked them up around the corner. They were sitting on the curb. I guess they had instructed them, don't go back to the house. Just wait at the curb. There's police on the way. So they had them, and they came they brought them to our car, and then they made us go to the golf course country club, which was right down the street from our house. And they said, we're going to have you wait here. We're going to wait. There was one police officer. He says, we're going to wait. I'm going to wait here with you. He says, and we're going to get reports from the house. And the officers that are there, they're doing, they're experts. They're doing their job. They're trying to get in. They're trying to make contact. And it was just this long.
I know it's just a long, drawn out process.
It was long and drawn out because they were trying to call her phone. They were trying to call his phone. They were asking if there were any other phones in the house, that they could try to call. And they took my phone. I think they took my husband's phone. It's like, maybe if we try to call from your phone, somebody will answer, but they weren't getting an answer. Nobody was getting an answer. And next thing I know, this police officer comes up undercover, and he's got a dog
right
in the back of his truck, and he's getting all suited up in his gear. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm just like, my head is spinning. I'm like, this ain't good. Something really bad has happened here. And I kind of just already knew, but I didn't want to believe it, but I just wanted an answer. I just wanted to know that y'all got in touch with them. Y'all talked to somebody in the house. But anyways, the sunlight started coming up, and the next thing I looked up, and there was an ambulance, and it was going the opposite way. And I was like, who is in that ambulance? And they said, it's your grandbaby. He's been shot, but he's still alive. And I said, where's my daughter? Oh. And they said, I'm so sorry. She's deceased.
Oh my God. I'm so
sorry. And I knew she was. I didn't freak out. I didn't go crazy. I didn't start screaming. I didn't, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Right.
But we knew, because the 10-year-old, during that waiting period, he told us that he saw Byron shoot his mom.
My God.
He woke up and he went to her bedroom when she screamed, and he said Byron was on top of her and he shot her in the head. And then he went out the front door.
Wow.
So we already kind of knew, did I know she was? I knew she was shot. I just didn't. I don't know. You got so much stuff going through your head when you're going through something like that.
Yeah. I can't even imagine.
I don't wish this on anybody, so that's why I say over and over again now, I need to be the voice.
Yes.
I need to be her voice. I need to be the voice, or I want to be.
Yeah.
I need to be, and I want to be the voice for all the Kellys that are out there suffering in silence and not being honest about what they're going through, because me and my daughter were close. We talked about everything.
Wow.
I knew she was going through something, but I had no idea it was that severe. Wow. I knew that she was having problems with this man. I knew that she was ready. She was in the transitional season. I saw it. She had She had gone to real estate school, and she was really just looking forward to a better life and trying to do, just do. When you say, I want to do me, that's what she was trying to do. And he just was constantly, coming around and wanting to be a part of Brooks's life, which I understand, that's his son, but you're coming around and you're causing problems, you're not coming around for the right reason. And the thing is that he's not bringing anything positive to the situation, because you're coming and you're causing arguments and fights in front of the children and the baby, and now the baby's, it's just too much, So if you can't do it right, then just don't do it at all, And I think she had gotten to that point where she was just ready to move on with her life, and he knew it. He knew it.
Right.
He knew he couldn't control her anymore, And I mean, honestly, he really just never really controlled her, but he manipulated her.
That's the biggest thing right there. Manipulation
all the time, Like I said, she always lived on her own. She always took care of herself, He would, oh God, he was just
mind games. I know.
a demon in disguise. He would tell lies about her to his family. She's this, she's a whore. She's, she was just a normal person.
Yeah.
A normal mother trying to make it in life, raising her children, and trying to have a good relationship with somebody, that just wasn't on the same page with her at all.
Right.
So, like I said, she was in a transitional season of her life. I know she was ready to move on, and he knew it too. He knew it.
Yeah.
I saw, the change in her. He saw the change in her. He saw that she was tired of his crap, is what she was. And when she filed that protective order, I think that did it, because he knew, he was going back to jail. He knew it. It was just a matter of going to court and getting sentenced.
Wow.
And he knew what was coming to him.
Right.
And she wasn't backing down this time. She was just like, I'm doing this. I want to get him out of my life. And that is like an animal in a cage, He was backed up against a wall, and he was like, if you're going to ruin my life, I'm going to ruin yours. Basically. I can think,
Right. Well, Renata, I just, there's a lot of people that are pouring their hearts out and saying thank you for sharing your story and being a voice, and your strength. You exude strength even through this all. And for those that are still tuning in, if you're just tuning in now, go back and watch the replay, listen to the story replay again, because Renata is a woman of strength who has recently lost her daughter. This just happened earlier this year in 2021. And her story, if her voice and her story is not enough to make you want to make a change, to make sure that it doesn't happen to you, my hope and prayer is that something happens that will click, after you finish watching this story and listening to this story. I have Lee right on here. He says, I can't find the words. I'm praying for your 2 grandsons that witnessed this. Please ensure they have the counseling they need. It may not manifest now, but they need to heal. And there's other people that are just pouring their love out to you, praying for you, and all those different things. A lot of love being shown here. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to come back. And I want you to share, what has it taken for you, the steps you've taken up to this point, to help you, start your healing journey and continue to be so vocal, even though your daughter and your grandson are no longer here. And then also, if you want, you can share, even the little piece about your grandsons and, what they've gone through. And then we're going to get into all of the things that has manifested because of this, that you're doing to continue Kelly's legacy. And we'll be right back.
Okay.
that was one of our sponsors, Mimosa Fest. That's going to be happening in May of next year, 2022. You don't want to miss it. This is first one of its kind, and I actually know the lady that is actually putting this on, and it started out as one little small thing and it's blossomed into this one big thing, and it's going to be the first one ever anywhere. So if you're looking into finding out more information about Mimosa Fest, go to www.mimosa-fest.com. Again, that is www.mimosa-fest.com. All right, Renata. So tell us, and like I said, I know this is fresh. This is something that happened early this year. So, and some people don't usually come out and start talking about, such a tragic event so soon. So where did this strength come from one? And two, what is it that you're doing now to continue Kelly's legacy?
Where the strength comes from, I don't even know. I mean, and I've been at it since day one, immediately after she, they perished. I just felt like people need to know this is no joke. It can show up at your doorstep just like it showed up at mine. I, along with the rest of my family, would have never dreamed in all of our days that we would be facing this or dealing with this. So I just, from day one, I just been like, please, 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 please leave. That's my sister. Please leave if you are being abused. Get out. It's not worth it. We did a story on WLOX a few weeks ago that came out, and the executive director of the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, she said something that was so profound. Stacey Riley, she said, don't ever, ever take murder off the table. It can happen. It can happen to your daughter. If you're listening tonight, it can happen to your daughter. It can happen to your sister. It can happen to your child, son, niece, because there's men that are being abused too. Your cousin, your friend, your coworker. If you see an inkling of a sign, reach out to that person, because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to turn your back on them.
That's right.
I never turned my back on my daughter. I never turned my back on her. I was always there for her. I listened to what she told me. My mother listened, but she did not tell the whole truth. You got to tell the truth. You have to tell the truth about what you're going through, because it's dangerous. It's so dangerous. You never know when that person is going to click and go over the edge.
Right.
Completely. I would have never dreamed. I still, to this day, every single day of my life since my daughter died, I say to myself, and really I say it to Byron, I can't believe you killed my damn daughter. You killed my daughter and my grandson. Why would you do that? I say these words daily. It's unfathomable. You can't comprehend the reality of it. But it's real. It is so real, y'all. Like, it's real. People die every day. Since this happened to my daughter, I have realized how many people die because of domestic abuse or at the hands of domestic abuse. Children are suffering. They're losing their parents. They're losing their siblings. My grandchildren, they love their mother. She loved her children, passionately loved her children. Like I love my children, like you love your children, Yolanda. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is a broken family now. Kelly had so many cousins and friends and co-workers and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews who loved her and Briggs. It's like, my therapist said today, it's like dropping a stone, a pebble in the water, and you see all the ripples. It's a rippling effect.
Right.
Everybody suffers from this. So if you are in a domestic violence relationship, you better think about how many people are going to hurt if something happens to you. I know for a fact my daughter would have never wanted me to hurt like this. I know for a fact she would have never wanted her family to hurt.
Mm.
And she was finding her way out. And
Wow.
that's why she was finding her way out, because she knew it was getting dangerous. You know, she wrote in her journals things that I just can't even believe that she didn't share with me. You know, like, I know I'm going to die. You know, things like that. You know, she wrote letters to me, to her children, because she knew deep down inside that she was in danger, but she wasn't strong enough, I guess, or whatever. I don't even know why she wouldn't say, like, help me, please. I'm like, I need to get the hell out of here. Like, this man's gonna kill me. Like, why wouldn't she say that to us?
Right.
I don't
Fear.
know. I don't get it. You know, like,
It's a lot. Fear, shame,
yeah,
it's a whole lot that plays in a person's head when they're the victim, and wondering what it would look like to everyone that's around them.
right. She didn't.
My,
I think she just didn't want to fail. You know, again,
right.
she had failed in her first relationship. You know, her first relationship with her older children's dad did not work out, but they were great friends. They were, co-parenting their boys, and she just didn't want to. I think she just didn't want to be a failure again. You know, like, she just wanted things to work out, and she did, and she knew it wasn't working. She knew that she couldn't. She realized that she couldn't change Byron. She thought she could in the beginning. She
Right.
really did. You know, she wanted to fix everybody.
Yeah. And
She
usually
had all the advice.
the thought process of anybody that's going through abuse, the
Mhm.
person is always trying to fix the abuser, but
Right.
that's almost impossible. They have
When there's
to want that.
mental issues and things going on, and
Yeah.
you
They have
know,
to help. And I'm glad that you mentioned a part, and I keyed in on that part too. You said your therapist said something today. That's important. I want people to understand it is important when you're going through something or you have experienced something such as this that's very traumatic. It's important to go through therapy. And
oh
I'm
God,
sure that the grandkids are going through therapy too,
yes,
correct?
yes, they are in counseling, um, and they like it actually. Their dad says they asked to go. Like, the youngest one, he says, "Are we going to counseling this week?" You know, so
Good.
yeah, they look forward to it, and they're going, and they actually go to group counseling. So they actually go to a counseling. It's called, I think it's called the Sharing Place,
Mhm.
which is other children and families, family members who have been affected by losing a parent or a sibling, or so they're speaking with people in
Right.
groups that are going through the same pain and suffering that they're going through.
Right.
So I think that's really healthy for them. Um,
Good. Good.
yeah,
Good.
my husband and I, we're going through counseling. Uh, I probably couldn't. I don't know. I don't think I could be this strong without it. Because it does help me get through. Um,
Amen.
and it helps me to understand how to grieve.
Right.
A lot of people don't even know how to grieve.
Oh, and
I'm
there's
learning that.
there's very, and I speak on that too. There's various levels to grief,
Mhm.
like levels to that stuff. So, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story.
Yes,
There's many people that are on tonight and watching. Hopefully, they got something out of what you're saying
I pray
and
they do.
understand that abuse is real. Abuse is a crime.
It's a
And if
crime.
you don't choose you could possibly not be here just like your daughter. And then it affects everybody, the whole family dynamics when someone dies because of domestic violence abuse. So keep being a voice, Renata. And I just want to, before we close out, I want you to share the things that you have going on. I know I do have one of the things that you recently just did to carry on your daughter Kelly and Brix's legacy by sharing your voice. And I'm going to pop this up on the screen real quick, if that's okay with you,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's a beautiful picture. I love the way they
Oh, the magazine. I'm like, what did I do?
and so you guys, this is Renata. She was on the cover of Gulf Coast Woman magazine, where she, of course, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and she is standing up against domestic violence and honoring and continuing the legacy of her daughter and her grandson. So thank you so much for continuing to be a voice, Renata. This is powerful. So if you have not gotten the issue, there are complimentary issues all around the Mississippi Gulf Coast, or you can go up to the Mississippi Gulf Coast office, and they have a magazine rack that's actually sitting right outside of their actual building. So good stuff. So what else do you have coming up, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, so yeah, so we have a benefit that's actually coming up here at the Golden Nugget, Biloxi. It's
Mhm.
on November the 6th, and it is basically a fundraiser. I was a concert promoter reached out to me to put on this benefit in honor of Kelly and Bricks. This is something that she does in other cities. And so I was like, absolutely. She's like, do you have a charity of choice? I said, yes, I do, and so we're going to basically try to raise funds to bring and to bring awareness and education, to the Gulf Coast, but again, in other cities as well, because she moves around with these concerts or benefits. And we're going to raise funds or try to raise funds for that. So we encourage people to come out. It is really for a good cause. There will be a few speakers, but the night is really going to be, just based on, bringing awareness and education, and then great entertainment. We've got a full lineup of all female entertainers, and some of them are survivors of domestic violence as well. So it's, like I said, it's just going to be a great event on November the 6th at the Golden Nugget. There is a dinner and show ticket that's $100 per person. And then there's also a show only ticket for $40 per person. So if you just want to come to the show and you don't want to do the dinner, you can do that. The tickets are on Eventbrite. So I think they're under Kelly and Bricks Benefit Concert, eventbrite.com or something.
Right. Yeah,
Just,
and
if you just search, yeah.
I
The
just
name of
dropped it in the comments,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go ahead and put the flyer up on the screen so everybody can see it. It's beautiful too. So
Yeah.
those that are interested in going to the benefit, the link is down in the comments that I dropped on in the comments, but I'm going to put on the screen the flyer so you can see the actual flyer itself.
Right. Yes, it's beautiful.
So it's basically honoring Kelly and Bricks in their memory and in their name. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So if you can come out and support, I will be there as well. Come out and support, and just be amongst people who are being a voice against domestic violence, and also during that night, also honoring the memory of Kelly and Bricks. So my prayer is that this will be an amazing and successful event. A lot of people are positively impacted, and hopefully when they leave there, they'll understand the importance of standing up against domestic violence abuse.
Right. Yeah. And so other than that, I've been just reaching out to, different agencies. Like I said, I've been working closely with just trying to get more information from, the Center for Nonviolence here in Biloxi, and trying to just understand how I can support them. I'm working with another nonprofit agency called I Am Knowledge Foundation. And I want just to, ask you guys to offer some prayers tonight for the founder. She actually is in the hospital right now, and so she's having some health issues. But she is a loving, loving, loving woman, and she is also a survivor of domestic violence. And she's really trying to get this agency off the ground, and so I'm trying to help her with that. My son-in-law has actually started a foundation for in Kelly and Bricks' name. It's called the Kelly and Bricks Foundation. I have a little brochure here. And so their main focus is to, and I believe you have the information, their main focus is to support and inspire and educate and bring awareness to mostly survivors, like Kelly's boys. It's their father who has founded this, and he founded it in honor of Kelly and Bricks, and he is wanting to support people and kids, youth mostly, that are going through the same thing his children are going through. They lost their mother and their brother.
Right.
Hard, that's hard on a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old.
It is. It really is. Well, I commend, even this foundation being started, because like you said, it's for people who are survivors or someone who has been affected by domestic violence abuse. and your
Yeah.
grandsons are mainly the ones that have been affected by it. So
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, continue to do the things that you are doing. If you all are looking to donate or reach out and want to support the Kelly and Bricks Foundation, the information is right here on the screen. You can go to www.kellybricksfoundation.org, or you can also email them at info@kellybricksfoundation.org. And you can also contact them via phone as well, 228-313-9883. And anybody who is experiencing domestic violence or knows someone who's going through domestic violence, I encourage you to reach out to a national or local hotline. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is www.thehotline.org, and their phone number is 1-800-799-723. Again, 1-800-799-7233. And if you're here located on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, you can reach out to the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, and their website is www.gccfn.org. And their phone number is also confidential. It's 800-800-1396. Again, please reach out to someone before it's too late. And if you're someone that knows someone that has experienced domestic violence abuse, find a way, if even if you don't feel comfortable, find a way to try to get help for that individual or be able to talk to that individual, because you just may save their life.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Renata, for being my special guest tonight. I am so
For having me.
that you said yes and decided to come share your story with us. I'm grateful. If there's anything that I can do to continue to support you and your family and anything that you all are doing, please let me know, because you know that this is where my passion and my heart lies when it comes to being a survivor of domestic violence abuse. So I am a voice right along with you. So email me, call me at any time, and I will do my best can to work myself into that schedule to come and
Okay.
support you.
Well, you've been wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Well, this is the end of our show. Make sure that you go back and watch the replay if you're just now tuning in. Powerful story by Miss Renata Flot-Patterson, about her telling her story about a demon in disguise, which is a person who painted a very good picture of who he was, but really and truly is somebody that was pretty much like a demon in disguise. Get out if you can. We don't want to see another mother go through something like this at all, or family being shattered and have to find a way to start healing to bring the pieces back together. So tune in to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show every Thursday. We have one more series, and one more show for this series that I'm doing this month for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in again next Thursday. And I'll see you all next week. And if nobody has told you they love you, know that I love you and God loves you too. Bye-bye. And stay tuned. Don't
Thank
go
you.
to Renata.